Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. As you can see, today we are here for the OPT, which is Optional Practical Training Workshop. And this presentation is brought to you by NMSU Office of International Students and Scholar Services. First, let me introduce you to our staff. Today we have Matthew Lara with us. He's our Associate Director, and you can see his email up there as well. Next is Padma Reddy. She's our International Student Advisor, and she will be giving you the presentation shortly. Diane Gobrick is not here with us in the session, but she's our Immigration Specialist. She's also helping with OPT. Kylie Arieta is here with us today. She's our Program Coordinator. And lastly, my name is Bibi Supapit Kanti. I am an International Student Advisor. So earlier today, you must have received an email from ISSS, and if you haven't, feel free to let me know. So in the email, there was a lot of information about OPT along with attached forms, and we expect that you will have a lot of questions. That's why we have this session today, and our objectives are to review the eligibility and requirements for OPT. If you have any questions, please feel free to type in the chat. So let me type in the chat here so you can locate it. During the webinar, feel free to send any questions in, and we'll have a session dedicated to answering your questions. Next, we will go over how to complete Form I-765. And lastly, you will learn how to contact ISSS. And with that, I will hand the presentation over to Padma.
Good morning, everybody. I hope you're doing well and safe during this difficult times and keeping up with your strength. This session is about OPT, which is also known as the Optional Practical Training. And this is a temporary employment opportunity for all the F1 students who have graduated from their program of study. It provides an F1 students an opportunity to gain 1 year of employment, which will help them to use the knowledge that they got from their program of study to apply that knowledge in a practical way. This optional practical training is not mandatory, and it is not mandatory for students to apply for mandatory. But students who wish to work in the US and gain experience, this is a great opportunity, because going on with this OPT, employers may hire you on an H-1B visa, and you may stay here for a longer time if awarded that H-1B visa. Let me go on to the next slide, please. And let's talk a little bit about who can apply for OPT. Any student in an F1 status who has been enrolled at a CIVIS approved university for 1 full academic year and is completing a degree program are eligible to apply. The student must also be in a good standing and have maintained their F1 status. If you have, you were out of status for whatever reasons, or your I-20 was terminated for whatever reasons, you will have to start all over again, and you have to complete the 1 full academic year of requirement. Next. Requirements for OPT. The work experience or position that must be related to your field of study and appropriate to your degree level. You do not need to have a job offer for applying for OPT.
Sorry, everybody. I think Padma was experiencing some technical difficulty. So we'll be back on in just a moment.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, Padma. I think on my end, you got cut off after not having a job offer for OPT.
If you do not have a job offer for OPT, you don't need to have a job offer to apply for OPT. You can apply for OPT even if you do not have a job offer. You are required to work during your OPT period of 1 year. You cannot be employed for more than 90 days. USCIS has become much more stringent with the timeline, and 90 days of, it has now a clock turned on your service record, which records how many days of unemployment you have. And after 90 days of unemployment, your I-20 may be terminated. The 90 days can be calculated 90 days at one stretch or an aggregate. Say, example, you have a job, you don't have a job offer for 1 month, and you have now a job for 6 months, and then you do not have a job for another 1 month, then it calculates the 30 days prior and the 30 days now, and total of, if you have more than 90 days, your I-20 may be terminated. The other reason is also that if you have to update ISS or on your CIVIS portal account, your employment details. If you do not, then the clock starts ticking and the unemployment period starts ticking. We will talk a little bit more when we talk about the Form 765 and further. Next, please. When can you apply? You can apply 90 days before your program end date or within 60 days of your program end date. Because we are talking about fall 2020 OPT, you can start applying for OPT as early as 15th of September 2020 and until 12th February 2021. Although I'm giving you the date, it doesn't mean that you can apply on 12th of February, because USCIS has to receive your packet, your complete OPT packet. This is a packet that is a hard copy which has to go to USCIS. It is not an email version. So please make sure that you apply. Do not go further than the deadline of February 12th. Next. This morning, we sent you all, for all the students who had registered for the OPT session, and one of them is their OPT request form. This OPT request form has to be completed by you and your academic advisor, wherein your academic advisor is going to confirm that you are going to graduate this semester. Once that is completed, you also need to complete Form 765. After this session, we'll also go through how to complete the Form I-765, and the next thing that you need, next please. And the next is that you also have to complete G1145. The G1145 is an notification of acceptance. What it does is that it allows this is a very small application wherein they will ask you for your name and your email address and phone number. So once the USCIS receives your OPT package, they send you an automated email and a text, or both if you wish. And this is very helpful because you can make sure you know exactly when your OPT application is approved. You get an automated email or a text. You'll also have to submit Form I-94, your passport, and your F1 entry visa copies. You will also need to submit 2 passport size photograph, which has to be in a white or off-white background. And you have to write your full name and I-94 number at the back of your pictures with a pencil only. Make sure you do not write it with a pen. You'll have to also submit a check or a money order for $410 in favor of US Department of Homeland Security. In the past, I would always recommend money order for the sole reason that, money order is where the money is readily available. With a check, they put your application aside, and until the money gets deposited to the Department of Homeland Security, they do not process your application. There is a time delay of a couple of days. But with the COVID and with USCIS not being very upfront, very diligent with their application, I would recommend that you use your a check, because you can know exactly when USCIS has withdrawn the money from your bank account. Which means that they are in the process of reviewing your application as we speak. Next. After you have submitted all the documents to ISS for us review, we will issue you an I-20, and you have to submit your 765 G1145, your passport copy, and your visa, and your I-94, $410 in application fee. And now you're ready to mail your application. During the pre-COVID, all the students were in Las Cruces, but with COVID and most of the classes being online for continuing students, they are all over the US. So the mailing location previously, if they were living in Las Cruces, would have been in the Dallas lockbox. But now, with students staying at various locations, there are different places based on where you are currently living in. In today's email that we sent out from ISS, it also has the US addresses that you need to send your package. Of course, we as in ISS, when we review it, we will also confirm what address you have to send it to, so you do not have any issues about sending the application. I will recommend that whatever services that you use to send your package, you can send by US Postal Service, FedEx, or UPS. FedEx and UPS are expensive. Postal Service is cheaper. It depends on how much of a timeline you have. If you are applying at the last minute, then of course FedEx is your best option. Postal Service is always recommended, but make sure that they offer you the tracking system. So you want to make sure that your package has actually been received by USCIS. Next. After we issue the I-20, make sure that USCIS receives your completed OPT package within 30 days of issuing the I-20. This is very important, and they track it very diligently, and if it is over 30 days, they outright deny your application. So make sure about that. Once your application has been received, you will receive a receipt notice, which is also called 797 form, which will have your receipt notice. There will be a receipt number. You can track the status of your application on the link, which is egov.uscis.gov case status landing.do. So you can track your OPT application status based on the receipt number. Notify ISS when your OPT application has approved. We will issue a new I-20 with the OPT approval. because when we initially issued your OPT, I-20 will only say requested. Now it will say approved. That is why you need to submit to us a copy of your EAD and approval notice, and we can issue you an I-20. Because of the ongoing pandemic, we can email you the I-20, and US SCVP has allowed us to email you the I-20 digitally. Please note, you cannot work until you receive your employment authorization, and whatever the dates are there, you can only work on the start and end date within the EAD card has been reached. If you have any plans of traveling when your OPT application is pending, I will not recommend it, for the sole reason being that when you are applying for your OPT application, you have to complete a Form 765. In that, you have to indicate your I-94 number and your last arrival date in the US. If you, anytime you have an application, it could be an OPT, it could be a H-1B, it could be a green card, or any of those things, anytime your application is pending with USCIS, you cannot exit the US. If you exit the US, it means that you have abandoned your application and you're no longer interested. That is what USCIS is going to perceive as. Hence, that's the reason why I recommend not to travel when your OPT application is pending. And after it has been approved, I will, if you want to travel, you may travel, but please get an your employer's letter stating that you are now hired to their company, and they are well aware that you are traveling to your home country or wherever it is, and your travel plan, including the dates of your travel plan, should be indicated in the letter from your employer. So when you cross the border, you have to show your passport, valid passport, your valid visa, I-20, and your employer letter. Next, please. After your application has been received, approved by USCIS, you will also receive from SCVP to create your own portal account. Please use your non-NMSU email to create your portal account. You will have to input your email address in your 765 form, and we require all students to input their non-NMSU or personal email account, because NMSU email is valid only 1 year after you graduate. And if you are eligible for STEM application or OPT, then all the emails will go to your NMSU emails, and you will not be able to access it. Hence, we recommend that you use your personal email. Now, you have to create your portal account using your personal email and create your own password. Once you have that, please update all your new employment or any change of address within 30 days. And also email ISS to get an updated I-20 reflecting your employment details. In your portal account, you have to complete the following information. You have to indicate how your current job is related to your program of study. If you change your employer, or you must notify ISS within 30 days of any change in employment. You may not work after your OPT has ended. You can legally stay in the US during the 60-day grace period after your OPT has ended, which means that you can make arrangements to leave the country. If you are qualified, if you are in any of the STEM OPT field, then which is math, science field, then you will be eligible to apply for STEM OPT. And you can apply and you can continue to work 180 days beyond the expiration of your post-completion OPT. OPT will not be approved more than once for the same degree level. OPT will also not be approved for a lower degree level. Next. Students who are applying for OPT are strongly encouraged to purchase health insurance if you do not have an employment at this time, or if your employer does not provide health coverage, more so during the COVID. Students who will be applying for OPT this fall and graduating for the fall should buy health insurance no later than February 28th. Please note your fall insurance is valid until January 31st, 2021. For the spring coverage, students should buy health insurance no later than August 38th. This will help you in avoiding a break in coverage. This morning, when we sent out an email to all the students who have registered for the OPT session, we have included an insurance copy application too. You can directly mail the insurance application to Relation Insurance Services. If you have any questions, feel free to contact us. The insurance can be purchased at 3 months or a maximum of 1 year. Next.
Okay, thank you, Padma, for the presentation. Now we will take the questions from the chat. So if you haven't done so, please feel free to send in the question. For now, I have one question. And the question says, do we get a 2-year STEM OPT extension if our employer is E-verified? I'm not sure if it's a 1-year or 2-year extension.
So OPT is always for 1 year. If you are if your major of study was in a STEM field, then you are eligible to apply for STEM OPT 90 days prior to your expiration of your OPT, not now. And when you are on OPT, it is not mandatory that you work only for an E-verified company, but when you are work on your STEM OPT, you have to work for an E-verified company only. Just for your information, NMSU is an E-verified organization.
Thank you, Padma. That's the only question I have so far. So if you have any questions, take a few moments to send it in the chat. Last time there were questions about I-20, passport, visa, the timeline, traveling, health insurance, or any other questions. Go ahead and type it in the chat. And again, just wanted to remind you that this meeting is being recorded and it will be available on YouTube, and we will send out the link on FSN.
Currently, the OPT application process, it takes for USCIS to make a decision to issue you an EAD card. The process time is anywhere from 3 to 4 months.
Okay, it looks like we don't have any more questions.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and move on. If you have, never mind, I have one question. All right, Padma, can I get my OPT before that time? I'm not sure what that time means.
Yeah, me either.
So can I get my OPT before that 3 to 4 months time?
So I am assuming that they are asking about, you are asking within 3 to 4 months. Is that what you are asking? Then yes, you should be able to get your OPT approved within 3 to 4 months. But this is the current timeline. And in my email that we sent this morning, there is also a processing timeline currently by USCIS. You can check on the 765 form, and you can check what are their current timelines, because it keeps changing from time to time. Although they don't update it very diligently, but you can get at least a rough timeline. Right now, from what I checked a few days ago, it was still 3 to 4 months.
And can I stay in the country during that time frame for 3 to 4 months?
Yes, definitely. When we issue the I-20, we will shorten your program of study reflecting your whatever semester you're graduating. Say you're graduating fall, then we shorten your I-20 to reflect December 11th. And on the second page of the I-20, we will reflect your OPT start date and end date, which will be valid for 1 year. So you are, as long as your application is under process by USCIS, you can legally stay in the US.
Okay. Thank you, Padma.
Thank you.
And during that 3 to 4 months time frame, how can I make an income if I'm not allowed to work at school?
Unfortunately, when your application, you're neither an F1 student, neither an OPT student, you are in a transition time. When you are in the transition time, you cannot work after you have graduated at NMSU if you had any assistantship or any job. But after your OPT is approved, and say on the EAD card, it has a start date of January 1st, you can start working only from that period. I know that, the 3 or 4 months that USCIS takes to process an application, but you are not allowed or eligible to work. That's why we recommend that you apply for OPT as early as 90 days prior to your graduation, so you don't face those kind of issues.
Okay. The next question is, currently I'm on a 1-year master's program. When do I start applying?
If you are in a 1-year master's program and are you planning to graduate this fall 2020, then yes, you can apply for 90 days prior to your graduation or within 60 days after your graduation.
Okay, the next question may be a little away from OPT, but I want to know, does a person need to have registered for classes for summer 2021 when requesting an I-20 for visa purposes?
If this is not related about OPT, then students for NMSU, our program of study is like only fall and spring semesters are mandatory semesters, and summer is an optional semester. When we indicate that it is an optional semester, it means that students have the complete freedom. If they want to register, it is up to them. And if they do not want to register, they don't need to register. And if they want to register full-time, part-time, no classes, it is totally onto them. If they want to renew their visa, their classes of study will not indicate in the summer. I don't think that will be a criteria for extension for a visa.
So on this question, I think they meant to say spring 2021. So let me repeat the question again. So does a person need to have registered for spring 2021 when requesting I-20 for visa purposes?
Yes. Are they new students or continuing students? If they are continuing students, they are fall and spring semester, they have to register for classes. And there are no exceptions to that.
This is continuing student.
Yeah, continuing students have to register for classes, yes.
But they started classes online. Does that still apply?
Yeah, they can still register for, SCVP for fall 2020 had said that continuing students can register for all online classes, which essentially means if you are taking all online classes or only one online classes because you applied for a reduced course load because this is your final semester, it is absolutely fine. I cannot confirm that for spring 2021 at this point because SCVP has not extended that benefit until now as of today for spring 2021.
Thank you, Padma. So let's see if there will be more questions. I'll give it a minute.
Okay.
And if we don't get to your questions today, again, feel free to email us at isss@nmsu.edu.
Students can also send, in the beginning of the session, we also gave all our advisors email too. So they are welcome to send to anybody or ISS.
Earlier, before the presentation at about 9, I also sent an email about the OPT information session. It has all the OPT information and other attachments, including the forms and a copy of the PowerPoint. So I'll go back again because maybe some people registered last minute, and if you haven't received that email yet, don't worry. You will be receiving it soon today. It looks like we have no more questions, so let's go ahead and move on to the Form I-765 overview.
Mm-hmm.
And I will change my screen. Okay, Padma, take it away.
So the first block of it is only for the USCIS office. Please do not touch that. Can we start from part 1? Then here is part 1 is reason for applying. And this is the first time that you are applying at your current degree level, please look at question 1A and check that, please. Please do not touch 1B or 1C because they are not applicable to your OPT. Now, part 2, let us scroll down to part 2, information about you. So, Phoebe, can we go back to page 1, part 2? Yes. Here, you have to give your 1A and 1B, 1C is you have to give your full name as indicated in your passport and in your I-20. The name should not be different. And in the question 2A to 4C is all about if you have other names used. Sometimes women have marital names or maiden names or divorce names or aliases. If you have any other names used in the past or currently used, this is where you have to complete it. Can we go to the next page, please? This is the part two, which is now continuing. They ask you for your US mailing address. Now, some students may be staying in an MSU housing or dorms, and they don't know if what would be their location, once they graduate. So they don't know where they will be staying because, with all the online classes, they may not know if they have to, where their primary residence would be in the US. So they can use this US mailing address of their family or friends that they can trust when USCIS mails the EAD copy to collect it and keep it in a safe place to give it to you. So if you are doing that, then you have to give the mailing address in care of the name of the person and their address. In question 6, say if you are living in the same address as your mailing address and your physical address, then you have to indicate yes. If not, then please indicate no. If you indicate no, then please give your physical address. Although I understand that you are going to temporarily stay only here on your NMSU campus housing only until you graduate. You have to leave the campus housing after you graduate. But still, you have to indicate your current physical address. Can we move on to question number 8? Alien register, this form 765 is applied not only by students who are applying for OPT, the students who are applying for STEM OPT also use the same application, and students and asylum seekers also apply for this. So each of them, the requirements are different. So you may not have alien registration number or a USCIS account, online account number. So please do not panic if you do not find it, because this is not applicable to you. Question number 10 asks for your gender. Please indicate your gender. And question level asks for your marital status. Please indicate that. And question 12 talks about if you ever have filed this form I-765 at a different degree level or as an asylum seeker at whatever way. If you have answered to this question yes, please attach a copy of your EAD card along with the application. And question 13A is for social security number. If you already have a social security number, then indicate yes. And if you do not have a social security number, check no. And question 13B, if you have a social security number, please indicate your SSN number here. Can we move on to scroll up, please? 14. If you do not have a social security number, what USCIS is doing is that once it approves your OPT application, it now sends your application to the Social Security office and helps you with the application of your SSN. This is like a 2-in-1 application. You can apply for OPT and also SSN at the same time if you do not have an SSN. So because now your information is going to be shared to another organization or Social Security office, they will request you for your consent for disclosure. Please indicate yes. If you have a Social Security number, you just say no. And give your father's name in question 15 and your mother's name. Can we scroll down, please? And question 18A is you have to indicate your country of citizenship. If you are a dual citizenship, you have to indicate both the countries. Say you are a dual citizen of Mexico and US, then you have to indicate that. Can we move on to the next page, third page? Here, they are continuing to ask more information about you. This is about your place of birth. What city or town or village were you born in, and the state or province of birth. 19C asks for your country of birth. Question 20 asks your full date of birth. In the US, please remember always they need your month followed by date and then followed by the year format. In question 21A, they require your Form I-94 arrival and departure record number. And you have to indicate your number here. Bibi, can we look at a sample of the I-94 number, please? Here is a sample. Please, guys, this is just a sample. Each individual will have their own I-94 and they'll have their unique I-94 number. We are showing you as an example. In here on the top row, you will see admission I-94 record number. In here, the I-94 number for this person is 514155658885. And their most recent date of entry was July 25th, 2017, and they entered on an F1 status. Can we go back to the 765? So you have to indicate the 51455 number here. And question 21B is you have to indicate your passport number. 21C is travel document number. Certain countries, for certain reasons, they only do not have a passport, they have a travel document. This may not be applicable to most of you. Can we move on to 21D? 21D asks for your country that issued your passport. Your home country is what must have issued you the passport, so indicate that. 21E talks about your expiration date of your passport. Make sure your passport is valid for at least for 6 months when applying for OPT. I know that COVID has been a very difficult time for all of us. If your passport has already expired or nearing expiration, there may be some issues about, although you may have tried to apply for the renewal of your passport, because of the closure of your country's embassy, you were not able to renew it. Please write a letter and indicate how you made the effort and show them that you are in the process of applying for an extension of your passport. For your information, you can apply for an extension or renewal of your passport within US. Question 22, date of your last arrival into the United States. This will reflect on your I-94. Question 23, place of your last arrival. Say you were traveling from India and your last arrival date, say you landed in Chicago, then your arrival place will be Chicago, United States. Although you will have a connecting flight to Las Cruces, El Paso, you still have to indicate the first place that you landed in the US. That is what it means. And most of the border crosses, you have to indicate Mexican students who have crossed the border, they have to indicate the location of the bridge. And question 24 talks about your current immigration status. Your current immigration status is F-1 student. Please do not abbreviate it. Please do not say F1 or please do not use any other forms. Use only F-1 student. Question 25, your current immigration status should also be F-1 student. Question 26 talks about your CIVIS number. CIVIS number can be found on your I-20 on the top right corner of your I-20, and it always starts with the alphabet N. Let me show you a sample of your I-20. This is a sample I-20, please, and this is the service ID. And if you look at the top, I'm sorry, it was on the top left corner, N004705859. Each student will have their own service ID number. This is for your example only. Please do not input this number. Can we go back? So that is the number that you are going to indicate on question 26. Can we move on to question 27? So question 27 talks about your what kind of OPT are you applying for? Because it could be OPT, it could be STEM OPT, and it could be asylum seeker EAD or any of those. Because you are applying for OPT, your code for this application would be C as in cat, number 3, and B as in boy. C has to be in lowercase, number 3, and B has to be in uppercase. Please do not worry or panic. This is something we do it always, and when you are ready for your OPT, we will review your application, and if you have made any changes or any mistakes, we will review and let you know. From question 28 all the way to question 31B in the next page is for students who are applying for STEM OPT. So you do not need to complete anything. 28, can we move on to the next page? You do not need to complete any of those. All of this part 2, you do not need to complete. The only thing that you need to can we scroll up a little bit, please? Is part 3, because this application is also used by asylum seekers who may not know how to read or write in English. There may be interpreters, there may be lawyers who may be applying for on behalf of them. That is not your case. So please check in the part 3, question 1A, wherein you can say, indicate, I can read and understand English, and I have read and understand every question and instructions on this application and my answer to every question. So please check this. And can we move on, scroll down to 3, your applicant's contact information. Question 3, they ask you for your landline number if you have any. Question 4 is your mobile telephone number, if any. And indicate, question 5 indicates your applicant's email address, if any. This could be your NMSU or your personal email, where in case they want to reach out to you, they can send you an email. I personally recommend that you input your personal email, because once your OPT is approved, you will get an SCVP will send a link to create your portal account, and your username will be your personal email. So this is the end of your application, and can we move on to the next page? All that you need to do now is you have to sign and date it. Please, the entire application has to be completed in a black ink only. I know on your I-20 you have to sign in using a blue ink, but this application requires you to complete the application, sign and date everything in black ink. you cannot digitally sign this application. Although SCBP is accepting digitally signed I-20s, but it does not accept digitally signed 765 form. If you digitally sign it and mail it to the USCIS, they will reject your application. The part 4 and all of this is not applicable to you. These are for asylum seekers wherein an interpreter is filling up the application on their behalf. So please do not touch any of the part 4 onwards. This is the end of your form I-765.
Okay, thank you, Padma. So now let's hear closing remarks from Kylie and then Matthew.
Hi guys, I'm going to go ahead and talk to you all a little bit about travel because the holiday season is coming up and we've been getting questions about that in our office. So I want to let you know that our office, NMSU, and really the state of New Mexico, we encourage you all not to travel if you can help it. So please stick around if you are able to. Right now in our state, we are in a lockdown and there are cases that are particularly high in our area. So we are encouraging you to stay put if you can. But if you feel like you have to travel, you can go ahead and email me. And when you email me, I will send you an electronic copy of your I-20 with travel signature. I will also send you important travel information. So please make sure that you read that travel information so you know that you're abiding by all travel restrictions and you're keeping yourself safe while you're traveling. One of the biggest things to remember and to keep in mind is if you have to travel, please keep in mind quarantine because you will have to go into self-quarantine for 2 weeks when you come back to NMSU and to Las Cruces. That's NMSU policy. So we want to make sure that you don't miss any classes, that your class schedule is not affected. So please keep that in mind when booking flights or just arranging travel in general. Beyond that, we do want to wish you all, our office wants to wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving and fall break. I think anybody who's been through 2020 deserves a break, but especially students. So please make sure that you guys are over this break next week. You are staying safe in your activities, but you are also getting a lot of rest and that you guys are enjoying your time off. So happy Thanksgiving. Have a great fall break.
Hi, everybody. I just want to thank you all for joining us for this information session. I hope you found it helpful and informative. And I want to also reiterate what Kylie said regarding travel over the break. Please pay attention to the health mandates that are issued by the state. New Mexico State University will always follow those health mandates that are put out by the governor regarding the COVID-19 pandemic. Yeah, as Kylie said, take some time this upcoming break to rest and recharge. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.
Thank you, Kylie and Matthew, and thank you, Padma, for the presentation and walking us through the form. So if you still have any questions, of course, feel free to email us at isss@nmsu.edu. And we are working remotely currently, but we'll be more than happy to schedule a one-on-one virtual appointment with you. So with that, I would like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and enjoy your break. Stay healthy.
Stay safe. Enjoy.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.